The old guardian was showing the elf around the moon temple. At the center of the temple stood a glowing sacred tree, home to a group of white spiders whose silk threads connected to the moon. The guardian controlled the temple by plucking these threads, dragging the moon forward. Additionally, the old guardian told the elf about the moon's origins. The elf learned that the moon came from the dream world, brought to this world by the first guardian through the dream gate in the temple after being carved and shaped. After explaining everything, the old guardian walked outside the temple, and his body began to transform until he became a tall moon tree. Only then did the elf realize this was the burial ground of past guardians. When each guardian's life reached its end, they would become moon trees, continuing to guard this place. Though the old guardian had found peace, he left behind an inexperienced elf who was at a loss. She tried to control the temple's movement, yet due to her lack of experience, the temple began running around chaotically. The elf attempted to fix things, so despite the little spider's warnings, she frantically plucked at the threads. This made things worse. The temple completely lost control, not only deviating from its original course, but also causing massive destruction to the ground. Even worse, the threads dragging the moon began snapping one by one from repeated friction. Seeing the moon swaying precariously, the elf desperately pulled hard, trying to save the wayward moon, yet the moon still flew away as the threads broke. The temple, having lost its divine power, immediately collapsed on the spot. On the other side, Jack, who was controlling the sun, witnessed this scene and was puzzled when he heard Jamie's voice in his ear. Jamie urged Jack to teach the elf a lesson. Jack thought this made sense. On his first day in office, the elf had caused such massive trouble and absolutely could not be forgiven. So despite his stone assistant's attempts to stop him, he left the Sun Temple without authorization. What he didn't know was that as soon as he left, two demons under the magma monster's command snuck into the temple and secretly stole the sun. The girl hiding nearby witnessed all of this. Meanwhile, to retrieve the moon, the elf came up with a brilliant idea. He threw a small spider toward the moon with all his strength. The moment the spider touched the moon, it quickly wrapped silk around it several times, then tugged the thread to signal the elf below. In this way, the elf managed to get the moon back without incident. However, he didn't know how to put the moon back in the sky. At that moment, Jack arrived unexpectedly. Faced with his questioning, the elf could only try desperately to cover up his negligence.